about Interstate 76, you're probably one of two people. Those that actually listen to Alex Austin's interviews, or those that watch old LGR videos. If you're coming to this channel, though, I'm gonna assume you're from the Alex Austin crowd. If you don't know why, it's because Alex Austin based one of his most popular games, Sub Rosa, on Interstate 76. If you don't see the similarities, here, have a side-by-side view. The characters of Sub Rosa have slightly more details than the characters of Interstate 76, but besides that, they look pretty much identical. 70s cars and styles of Interstate 76 kind of blends into Sub Rosa with a perfect mix. Now, I'm not here to compare Sub Rosa to Interstate 76, I'm here to talk about one of the most obscure games Activision has ever released. Now, let's get on the highway. The game starts out with the text box explaining the story of the game. Gas is expensive and scarce. Crime is rampant, and no one seems to care. If you think this plot is similar, it's probably because it is. This game is heavily based on the first Mad Max movie, in which this 1970s oil crisis gets even worse and everybody's fighting for oil. Gangs are more rampant and everybody's relying on the vigilantes to help them out, or in this movie's case, the Bronze. Cutscene shows off our main character in a chase, or one of the main characters at least. Behind them is one of the big baddies of the game. Get used to this face. Soon, our character is driven into a junkyard full of vehicles. Her car badly beaten, and she only has one thing left to do. She gets out of her car with a gun.
Damn.
One magazine. Soon, our villain does too. He soon comes upon our main character once more and finishes the job. But just as he's about to finish her off, our main character's love interest and side character comes in blazing. However, he's too late. It still manages to scare him away.
Find my brother. Tell him.
And thus we are thrown into the world of Interstate 76. Interstate 76 runs on a heavily modified MechWarrior 2 engine, yet the graphics are much more improved and the design of the game is much more focused on. Although that doesn't mean differences cannot be made between the two, like the janky combat. I can't tell you how many times I have stopped playing this game for a little bit because of the combat. There are points in this game where you should not be fighting at all, yet you're forced to. Like the moon level, where there's anti-gravity and you have to compete with the other racers before battling. This is because during the race, they get to attack you, and they can kill you, but you can't kill them. This is really annoying, because after the race, you have to fight them with a very damaged car. This took me over a night to finish, and I do not like admitting that. However, there are some points in this game which are really fun. The combat sections in this point aren't always bad and terrible. It's just that some have overpowered enemies that you can't really compete with. That is, until you get the 50 caliber machine gun, or until you get the extremely overpowered motors. Speaking of upgrades, here's the car upgrade screen. You can change out your engines, repair anything you get from this field salvage, and get better special items such as the cup holders, which provide a wide variety of different effects. One more thing to mention is if you run out of ammo or your guns stop working, or if you didn't even bring any guns, you can start shooting outside of the windows. I find this kinda cool, as you can do drive-by shootings on the fellow cars. And yes, you can kill other people. And I know that might sound weird, but I'm saying that because this is actually really weak. It's actually more of a finishing move. Oh, and by the way, let's not forget that this game runs like hot garbage. So if you're going to be trying to play this game, it's probably not going to work very well. I've had multiple crashes, and the resolution... Well, there's no widescreen patches, so good luck with this. I mean, what do you expect? This game is very old, and barely anybody knows about it. Time to focus on the real plot. You play as Groove Champion, later called Swinger. He's the sister of the main character you just saw. I'm calling her the main character because of the prequel of this game. But that's not important. What is important is this character right here, Taurus. Or his codename, Stampede. This will be our main character's best friend in the story. He convinces Groove, or better known, Swinger, to become a vigilante with him, like his sister was. He has a hard time doing it, because Groove is kind of a wimp. He doesn't want to kill people. And even though Taurus is tough on convincing him, he acts like the Tommy Angelo of this story. Once a cab driver and forced into the mafia by force. He has to get used to his new life or face the consequences of death. We're also introduced to other characters, like Skeeter, who finds scrap parts and attaches them to the piranha, Groove's car. We also come upon other vigilantes later in the story. However, the plot starts to thicken as soon as our trio of characters find a briefcase full of money after destroying a bar owned by the villains. However, the money turns out to be less of a blessing, but more of a curse, as the villains are already hunting after it. A hunt for said cash then later injures Taurus, and then soon destroys his car. It also turns out the money was a lot more important than the characters thought, as it turns out they were planning to use the money to buy a nuclear bomb, but now knowing that our characters, these vigilantes, are planning to attack back, they decide to use the leftover cash from the nuclear deal for something else. And what may that might be, you ask? Well, why of course, bribing the cops to fight for them. It soon turns the small problem into an international problem, as everybody is against our characters, and if someone isn't, they'll be bribed too. But of course, our characters will prevail, and they'll stop at nothing to destroy this nuclear bomb and the Tony guy, Mafia Man. It also turns out many assassins are hunting for them as well, but they're quickly dealt with. They're soon set off to Roswell to take out the storage of the nuclear bomb, or something like that. I wasn't really paying attention. I'm sorry to say it, but that's all plot-wise. Why? Because the game keeps crashing as soon as I finish that Roswell level. So that's gonna deduct some points from this. This game has horrible, and I mean horrible, compatibility issues with modern hardware. I recommend you play in Windows 7 or something like that, and install a bunch of patches from the internet. I'm sure there's tons of them out there. The short answer, hell no. The long answer, sure. But only if you're a real big fan of old DOS games. This game runs like absolute garbage on my computer. And that there's like a strong misconception that, as soon as technology starts improving, of course the older stuff will be like great, right? No, this is horrible. I mean, look at the footage, look at that rendering, look what's happening. I didn't even see that coming. And then I'm stuck on the side. Oh, look at that, now I have to drive back around. This isn't even scripted, I'm pissed off. If you want a good DOS game, just go play Syndicate. And don't even buy it from EA Origin or the GOG Galaxy thing. Just go pirate it. Even if there's a sale, just don't give EA any money. Good God, do you see what they do nowadays? And my final verdict? If you're masochistic enough, 4 out of 10. This game is pain, suffering, and don't forget, I'm not sure if my voice changed over the course of these, 4 or 3 months, but, probably did. This is also intended for a different channel, but I decided to just put it on here.